Hey everyone, you're here with us on Ask Your Angels, and I'm being joined tonight by Frank Minitel from Soulbody, who is going to go over various topics with us, and thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
One of the main topics we're going to discuss following last week's show is astrology. For those of you who are into astrology and horoscopes, you get pretty excited in the morning, check your horoscope every day. Whether it comes to your inbox or your newspaper, you might be interested to know that this was studied from way back in ancient civilizations, where they would realize that the universe was constantly changing, and they would look at the stars and the moon and how everything moved, and felt that in some way it reflected what was going on in their lives. So people today, some are real believers of horoscopes, and some just do it for fun. But one of the great things about it is it gives us some insight as to who we are. And I'm going to let you take it away, Franco, and give us a little information about astrology.
Okay, well, the first thing is, you mentioned horoscopes, what we read in the daily paper. That's not very ancient. In fact, that's only been around since the 1930s.
Well, the paper.
the
horoscopes?
Yeah, those horoscopes.
Oh, right.
Actual astrology and an actual horoscope chart, like Allison was showing on the screen last week, that's been around for a couple thousand years. And prior to that, they practiced more of what was an actual sky interpretation. So they would observe where a planet was in relation to the constellations, and then they would make a prediction based on that.
Okay. And do we have any idea of how accurate that prediction would have been for that time? Do you have any examples?
Actually, I have a personal example. I was leaving to go to work one day, 4:30 in the morning, and I looked up at the sky and I saw Saturn. Saturn was right next to the star, or what we call in astrology the fixed star, which is a constellation. In the constellation of Leo, it's the brightest star. It's one of the four royal stars of Persia. It was the star Regulus, and there was a full moon. So usually full moon means things coming to light, high energy. Regulus is the king, and Saturn is about being old or endings. So I looked at that and I said, okay, so some world leader's probably going to fall today.
Oh, okay.
So off I go to what I was going to do. And later I was driving home and listening to the news, and sure enough, Fidel Castro stepped down. Because of old age. He's getting older, and I went, wow, okay, this is how the old guys did it.
That is so cool.
But what we've done with astrology is we've now mapped it out on a piece of paper with all the planets distributed around the chart, representing where they are today in the zodiac, and we interpret a chart this way, as opposed to actually looking up in the sky.
Okay. And last week we talked about the 13th zodiac sign, Ophiuchus, is it?
Ophiuchus. Yeah. Okay. So a little bit of history. The eighth sign of the zodiac, Scorpio, was originally several other animal depictions. One of them was, the very first one was the snake. Now Ophiuchus is the serpent bearer. And originally the claws of the scorpion used to be the scales of Libra. And then they kind of reconfigured it. After the serpent, Scorpio became an eagle. And then after the eagle became Scorpio. So I'm not quite sure when that happened, the shift. But the eagle is very, very well written about in books and whatnot from 2,000 years ago, such as the Bible, such as the Egyptian Book of the Dead. It represents the four fixed signs of the zodiac, which are Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio. These are the 4 fixed signs because they occur in the middle of the season. And you'll always hear a reference to a man, a cow, a lion, or an eagle.
Okay.
So the first 4 pylons that you meet entering the realm of Osiris in the Egyptian Book of the Dead is a falcon-headed deity, a cow-headed deity, or a pylon. They were called pylons. So a falcon pylon, a cow pylon, a lion pylon, and a man. And then there were additional pylons after that. Mm-hmm. The other one is in the Book of Revelations, where they talk about the throne of God is surrounded by these 4 beasts. One with the head of a lion, one with the head of a cow, one with the head of an eagle, and one with the head of a man. And those are the...
Snake significant at all? Because whenever I hear snake, I always think way back in biblical times the snake representing the devil. So it
no. Okay. Think about what most ancient cultures looked at the snake and the serpent to represent.
It was evil, though, wasn't it?
No. It was wisdom. The serpent is wisdom. In Native American tradition, the serpent is wisdom. In ancient times, in ancient religions, the serpent is wisdom. Serpent, as in its use in Scorpio, is about regeneration, death and rebirth. Snakes shed their skin. So to the ancients, it was like the animal died and was reborn.
It's kind of like reincarnation.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay.
So the evil came because if you want to take the story of Adam and Eve and actually look at that, where the serpent comes in and says, "Eat from the tree of knowledge," the serpent was about wisdom, and they turned it into bad. What? Because if you have knowledge, those in charge don't like that.
Right. It's a threat.
So they try and dumb us down by making us watch sitcoms and football on TV, right? Because you wouldn't pay attention to the actual issues involved, right? So we get dumbed down.
It's true.
So the serpent is bad.
So I being Sagittarius, but I'm in that realm of where I could be Ophiuchus.
Okay. I guess there's another
Seems
thing.
I'm very, very wise. We could leave it at that if you want.
Yeah, we can leave it if you want.
That's a good way to...
No, actually, Sagittarius happens after the Scorpio. I think the shift was somewhere in between Libra and the end of Scorpio. The actual zodiac constellations that we take the signs from are not the exact same size. What we do in astrology, and I'm just sketch something out here, is we take a circle. So you got a circle. Now, what we do is we take that circle and we divide it into 12 equal signs. And I'm not doing a good job here. We are going to pretend that those are 12 equal signs. Anyway, so...
If I ever invite you for pizza, I'm not going to let you cut it out. I will not get a fair share.
Well, how do you know? I might offer you the larger pizza.
Oh, well, there you go. I don't need the larger.
But anyway, so we assume that the signs are all the same. When the ancients put together the zodiac, they decided to say all signs are 30 degrees. Equal chunk of the pie. In actuality, Aries, Cancer, Libra are very small signs. Pisces and Virgo are very large signs. They take up a lot of the sky.
Is that significant in some ways?
If you're doing actual let's look at the sky astrology, yeah, it makes a difference. No one reads that way. I've been studying astrology for 11 years now and been working with it. And the 30-degree system has worked, and in both systems. One of the other things that came up in that whole thing about the 13th sign is that the signs have shifted. And yes, that's true, but there are 2 types of astrology out there. The very first one that we follow is the Western or tropical. It's seasonal. So the first day of spring is the beginning of Aries. So wherever the sun is on the equinox in the spring, that's Aries. Summer solstice is the beginning of Cancer. Autumn equinox is the beginning of Libra, and the winter solstice is Capricorn. And that's where we get the celebration of Saturnalia, the celebration of Saturn, because Saturn rules Capricorn.
Okay.
Now, you heard about the age of Aquarius and all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah. What happens is, when they came up with this system that Aries is equal to the spring, that's actually what happened. The constellation of Aries was behind the sun at the moment of the equinox. But the universe doesn't sit still. There's a grand year that keeps going around and around. This takes approximately 26,000 years to complete. And it goes backwards. So what ended up happening after they developed the tropical zodiac, the constellations kept moving. And they knew about this from the Egyptians knew that this was going on, because the pyramids are no longer lined up with the stars that they originally...
Is this why we have time change?
No.
Okay.
Time change has to do with the tilt of the Earth.
Okay.
No. But what's happened is, if you go see a Hindu astrologer from India, they practice sidereal. So they actually take that period of what the constellation is behind the sun and use that. So we are in the age of Pisces right now.
Okay.
And in about... Now it depends if you're looking again at the 30-degree signs or if you're looking at the actual constellations. If you look at the actual constellations, the spring equinox is going to be in Aquarius in the year 2600 and something. In the sidereal astrology, it's going to be more around the year 2380, around there.
And these signs, they're all significant in some way. Like, we interpret them.
Yes. Actually, there was a lot of major changes. I did a whole talk for an astrological group on this, as well as other groups. Major themes and shifts in religion occur with each shifting of the age. Different discoveries occur. For instance, during the Age of Aries, which was from about 1900 to 2000 years ago, there was, and then going back 2,100 years before then, in that age, Aries was ruled by Mars. Mars rules iron. It was the Iron Age. Before then, we were in the age of Taurus. So when the Egyptians were in power, Taurus the bull, one of the primary deities was Hathor, the cow-headed deity.
I was going to say, because they wear that kind of headdress mask thing, that's what it looked like.
Yeah, and that was the Bronze Age, and Venus rules bronze. Venus rules Taurus. So then what ended up happening when we got into the age of Mars, you got into more aggressive deities. And so what happened was the Egyptians dumped Hathor, and they took on Ra, Amun-Ra, the ram's-headed deity. And that's reflected in the story of Moses, where Moses goes up and he's got the people out there and he's standing on Mount Sinai, and when he comes back they made a golden calf. So what do they do with that golden calf? They shatter it, because the age of Taurus was over. Also the deity Mithras was sent down by the Ad-Dumazda, the great god, in Zoroastrian religion or Mithraic religion, you have a good god and a bad god, and the good god sent down his only son to kill the bull. So again, this was killing off the age of Taurus to bring in age of Aries. And the age of Christianity was created around when?
Oh, you want me to actually tell you when it was created?
Follow next. So Taurus, Aries, when you go backwards,
I don't.
Pisces.
Pisces.
So the fish, the fish god, the deity, because the symbol of Christianity is the fish.
You know, my favorite biblical story is the one about the fish.
Ah, yes.
The loaves of bread and the fish?
Well, that's what that story is about. It's about the changing of the age. Because, so this is interesting. So they had how many fish?
They only had one or two, didn't they?
Two fish, the sun and the moon. How many loaves? Five.
Oh my God.
Five
go back
planets.
And read my Bible.
The five planets.
I do love the story.
Okay. No, but you're not paying, like most people don't pay the same detail as what I'm interested in.
No, I always really thought it was one fish, one loaf of bread, and then he made a whole bunch.
No. So what it was the two fish, the sun and the moon, and the five planets.
Oh, okay.
And it was about coming into the age of Pisces.
And yet they don't talk about that during the Bible. They don't.
It's all in there.
It is, but they don't actually.
12 disciples.
Yeah, it's symbols, but they don't actually. Like, this is the first time I've ever heard this.
Yeah, I kind of not made it up. I kind of discovered this on. I made the connection myself. I haven't read on it anyway.
No, it's fascinating.
And that's the interesting thing is how it all blends in. So you have Jesus in the center as the sun, and the 12 apostles being the 12 signs of the zodiac. You have the 12 tribes of Israel. There weren't exactly 12 tribes. If biblical scholars will try and find them, there was no 12 tribes. But and I've been in a synagogue where they actually had the constellations of the zodiac up there. So it was beautiful. And then you've got the 12 gods of Rome, and the Romans took on that theme as well. So
wow.
Yeah,
you should write a book about this.
I'm working on it.
If this is your own discovery, that's fascinating.
Yeah, and now we're heading into the age of Aquarius. And Aquarius is all about science, it's about understanding, it's about knowing.
Is it about spiritual enlightenment and everything? Because they're saying we're coming into a spiritual age.
It is, because we're starting to understand more. And more is available to us. Mm-hmm. Things aren't occulted anymore. Now, I'm not sure if your listeners know what the meaning of the word occult is. Occult is a word that means obscured or hidden. So occult knowledge, astrology, numerology, tarot, any type of working with herbs, that was occult knowledge. Even science today, back in the ancient days, would be an occult art. Not everyone can know about it. Mm-hmm. And it was kept quiet, and the teachers and the priests and the scientists all hung on to that information. Mm-hmm. So that explains why, like, when I was younger, nobody ever talked about these sort of things. There wasn't much spiritual awareness. You went to church and that was about it. Well, because spirituality is more about discovering things for yourself, rather than following an actual religion, which is a doctrine or a dogma that you must follow. Do this. Why? Because you're told to, and it says so in this book. And this is where people, when you start learning more, this is why the serpent is bad, because the serpent is wisdom. Once you start learning more, you make your own decisions. Exactly. And that's not good for the people in charge. No, they don't have control anymore. However, snakes can bite. So sometimes if you, and again going back to that story, Adam and Eve, here they are, they leave the garden because they now know. They've tasted wisdom. They've spoken to the serpent of wisdom. They have eaten the apple of knowledge. And now they're aware, and your eyes are open. And it's about not being able to go back. My son is into one band, and I think it's Linkin Park, I don't know, who has a lyric about once the paper is crumbled, it can never be straightened out again. Which is true. That totally makes sense. He's very wise. Get that from his dad. So I'm going to ask you a personal question, and you don't have to answer it, but based on what you've just said, do you believe that these things like Adam and Eve actually happened, or is it all symbolic? It's okay. Most mythology, there's some element of truth, and stories are written in as parables, like the teaching of the fish and the loaves. That's teaching us something, and put into a story so that people can understand. Right. In ancient days, let's talk about molecules, right? They're going to go, huh? What? But they had an idea of some of these concepts back in the day. they knew that the sun went around the Earth. Then after a while, some people kind of knocked that down and turned us, into the flat Earth people. Actually, I was quite surprised to find out that there's a flat Earth society, a bunch of people who still believe that the Earth is flat. They have meetings. Yeah, apparently I found it on the web.
We're going to have to look into that for another show. That sounds fascinating.
We should go to the meeting.
Really? Is it local?
I don't know. we'll have to look them up. But
you could go in as imposters. Check that out. Seriously. So they must believe that everything they've seen on TV and everything is a myth. Like it's made up.
Yeah. Like after they lost a lot of members after the Apollo moon missions, according to what I found on the web. But anyway,
so none of these people know anyone who's been on a world cruise. Clearly,
I don't know.
Or maybe they didn't come back.
They fell off.
Okay. Well, do you have any more to tell us about astrology before we move on to numerology?
Okay. No, other than the one thing about seeing an astrologer, and this is very important, is the exact time that you were born. Mm-hmm. As an astrologer, we need 3 pieces of information. Number 1 is your birthday.
Time you were born?
Day, month, and year. Number 2 is the place, and most people know that. And then number 3 is the exact time. And to give you an example of how critical the exact timing is, I remember there was this one woman I had met at some event, and we exchanged cards, and she popped up on MSN one day and said, "Hey Franco, how you doing?" And I go, "Oh, not too bad." "Oh, so I remember you telling me you're an astrologer. Here's my birth data." I'm kind of like, okay, well, we didn't enter a client-astrologer agreement, so I told her, "Don't just give me your information." Mm-hmm. She goes, "Well, what can you possibly tell me that with that?" I go, "Well, you kind of built out your whole life here." So she gave me the information, so I typed it into the computer. The chart came up, and I'm looking at the chart, and I said, "Well, unfortunately, one thing that it says is that something really, really bad happened to you when you were 6. And let's pretend, for argument's sake, she told me she was born at 6:15. And she says, "Whoa, that's in the computer? I mean, that's in the chart?" And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Well, that bad thing didn't happen when I was 6. It happened when I was 8. So I said to her, "Well, then you weren't born at 6:15. You were born at 6:23. Mm-hmm. Because I was able to clock the chart. And I use this to correct people's birth times when they don't know their time of birth. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like its own separate session. So you come to see an astrologer to find out what's going on. But if you don't know your time, what I do is I collect all the information from your past, major events, and then I turn the wheel and make changes and adjust it, and then come up with the exact time you're born. Or at least I hope to get to that point. And I've been able to successfully do it because later on I've had clients find their actual birth time, and I was right on the money.
So is this, just a quick question, is this an actual birth time, or is this cesarean section birth time, or premature birth time?
It would be when you take your first breath. That's when you leave the mother's womb on your own.
So first breath type of an idea.
Yes.
Okay.
It would actually be on your birth record.
I have a question that came from the chat. Somebody online would like to know if you could do an astrology reading for them. Via the chat.
Via the chat. Unfortunately, I didn't bring my computer with me, which has the program. You got to keep in mind you have to take the person's time, day, year, and all that, and then adjust.
A lot of work involved.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, not nowadays, because you just plug all that information into the computer and it generates it. In the old days, it took hours to do. So sorry. I would love to, but unfortunately,
we're getting some booze online right now.
Well, hang on, because you know what? You can go to Franco's site. It's www.soulbody.ca, and send him an email. And I'm sure he just needs his equipment, and I'm sure he'd love to do that for you. I also wanted to mention something, because I know years and years ago when I was really young, there's a misconception that the minute people hear, just give me where you were born and the time and, you know, your full name, and, oh, well, why would I do that? Now he's just going to go research my background and that's how he gets his info, and that's not the case.
No.
But I know there's people who think that, and I mean, who's going to spend all that time and energy doing, you know, that kind of research, and it wouldn't tell you the kind of things you're going to find out anyway, right? No,
and one thing, you know, everyone's big on Amy Winehouse passing away and joining the 27 Club. One of the things that you could see in Amy Winehouse's chart, and I'm just trying to remember it, I just looked at it briefly a few weeks ago when all this was going on, and I wrote a quick little synopsis on my Facebook page. But she has a lot of planets in Pisces and Neptune in a very difficult configuration to, I believe, either the planet that rules her ascendant or her sun. Ascendant is the rising sign, so that's the most important thing. And with the Neptune squaring it, what that does, Neptune or anything with a lot of Pisces, a lot of times that brings about addiction issues. You're either very musical, very spiritual, or you're into the booze and drugs.
Sounded like she was probably all of those.
Yes. And see, that's the thing with the Piscean energy. One of the things that brings to the table is that element of music, spirituality, and if you use that energy poorly, it's into overdoing the booze and the drugs. Mm-hmm. So a lot of addicts will have a Pisces, Neptune type of character, or Jupiter, the old ruler of Pisces. And I don't want to scare anyone who's a Pisces going, oh no, I'm going to be a junkie, and it's like, no, that's not true. I myself have the moon in Pisces, and the moon is it's our emotions, it's our psychological self. And in Pisces, unfortunately, the problem there, and I've talked to a lot of people with moon in Pisces, is that you become an emotional sponge. So I could be sitting here with you.
Mine must be in Pisces, I'm thinking.
Well, the thing is, if you are in a bad mood and I'm sitting next to you, I will be in a bad mood within about 5 minutes. Really? And I don't even know why. Well, now I'm more aware of it, and it's sort of like, okay, maybe it's her. Maybe it's not me.
So you kind of pick up on people's... I pick up on people's moods. Like when people come for a reading, if they're sitting there and they're in turmoil, or, you know, they've got a knot in their stomach, or I feel everything they're feeling.
So you could have the moon in Pisces. I didn't even bring an ephemeris with me or anything.
Like I did the numerology, and it came up where I lived, a lot of it was emotion, emotion, emotion.
Yeah, and numerology could tell you that as well, but I find astrology is a bit more exact. Mm-hmm. And, well, it could also be that your moon is either in the 12th house, the 8th house, or maybe on the cusp of the 4th house. These are all signs that kind of connect with psychic ability, or you might have a moon next to Neptune.
You know what? I'm going to get a reading done, astrological reading done by Franco, and we're going to talk about that at one of our next shows.
Okay. I have a quick question online, and this question has been bouncing around, and the question is, what's your sign?
What am I? Oh.
There's certain people online that think they know, but they refuse to answer.
Oh, they don't want to tell.
They think they know?
Yeah, there's some jazzy girl out there that thinks she knows.
Jazzy girl.
Yeah, she knows all right, yeah. Me, I am very late. My sun sign, okay, so that's the day, pertaining to the day I was born. My sun is at 29 degrees, 48 minutes of Aries. I was 5 hours away from being a Taurus. My moon is in Pisces, and my rising sign is Cancer. So, if you want to know my Mars is in Leo, Saturn is in Aquarius, my Venus is in Pisces, Mercury's in Taurus.
Did all of you guess that right on? 'Cause, well...
So did anyone get it?
What's the feedback?
Oh, now we're getting some real wild questions, but you know.
Are you going to share?
Shoe size?
Shoe size.
It's got little feet.
9.
Sorry. Must have some fans out there if they want to know your shoe size.
Yeah, they're going to throw them at me, right?
Well, I came up with something I found on the internet. It's angel astrology. Okay, you want to share before we go into this? You guys are making my tech guy just kill himself laughing here. But you never share, so, you know, we just have to assume he's mental and we carry on.
Yes, Jazzy Girl just said that my feet are as big as his. And I'm a girl.
I don't know if that's good. I'm not going to touch that.
Don't touch that. Can't touch that.
Okay, well, what does Jazzy Girl think that means? I'm very fascinated now. This.
Oh, there's probably some type of shoots. Well, you can actually
people do feet readings.
You can do readings with anything. I believe I mentioned last week when I phoned in.
Dinner plate.
I do dinner plate readings, and my own bucket of stuff. See, in ancient days, one of the main forms of divination was augury. And in augury, what you would do is you would take a calf, ritually kill it, so it was sacred in front of the gods, kill the calf, and then read its liver. And they would base their decisions on, should we wage war against this town? Should we invade? Is it a good time?
You mentioned that.
What can you do? So, and they even have a bronze liver that kind of helps students learn.
I was grossed out last week. I'm grossed out all over again.
But like I said, trails and throwing the chicken bones, and you can do all kinds of reading.
Water's good.
Water? Yeah, actually, I tried to read spilt water.
Oh.
It was funny, someone wanted a reading from me once, and they missed me at an event, and I said, oh, okay, well, hang on. And, we were out at a bar with a bunch of us, big social event, and I said, well, come with me. So I sat her down, and I go, here, take this napkin, and take a swig of water, and go, kind of spritz it on to the napkin.
How drunk was she to agree to do that?
Well, she thought I was pretty drunk. And so I got her to do it, and then I go, here, take some pepper and sprinkle it onto the napkin as well. And then I go, and is that your straw? Yes. Grab that and put it somewhere here. And so I sit there and I look at it and I go, oh, so tell me what's happening at work. It looks like you had a really rough week this week. And she's like, how did you get that? And it's like, I don't know. What it is, like any type of reading that you're doing, is it's a form of energy transfer.
Mm-hmm.
You have your angel cards.
Mm-hmm.
So you shuffle them. You're talking to someone on chat. That energy gets transferred over.
Right.
Same thing, especially with anything where you're doing a tactile thing. Like, so her spit fell onto the sheet in the way that the information got translated to me, and I was able to translate it into whatever language, back into English from whatever language, so that I could give her some information and insight about boss or what was going on at the time. And
it's all interpretation, right?
Yeah, and the signals and messages that the reader gets. So I remember the first time I heard this, it was very interesting. I was doing a reading for a woman. We were at some event, and she came over. I was doing the Viking runes, and she asked about this one rune, and the rune meant family, and it could be hereditary, or it could just be your own personal foundation. And it was funny. I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear the words Uncle Ernie in my head. This is the first time it happened like this, and I kind of looked around. And I go, okay, I don't see anyone who could have said that to me. And so I'm looking at the woman as I was in the middle of, talking, and then I said, oh, by the way, tell me about Uncle Ernie. And without breaking a stride, she told me all about Uncle Ernie. And I went, okay, that was interesting. This was several years ago. It was like, I remember when that happened, it kind of threw me for a loop. And so obviously something connects, right?
Exactly. I've had that happen too, where weird, obscure things like an object or just someone will say something in my head, and there was a time where I would think, okay, this is weird, I'm not even going to mention this. And I learned that you have to say it. It might not make sense to you, but it will make sense to the other person.
Exactly.
And it's just startling because you're like a transmitter. So when it comes to you, it doesn't necessarily make sense to you, and sometimes it surprises me. It's like, wow, I can't believe I just did that. But, we all have that ability to do that. If you open up and start listening, you'll be surprised what you'll hear.
Question just came over. Do you get a company's numerology number from their phone number?
Not really. The way I would do a numerology for a company is to actually take the time it started. Same thing with an astrology chart. You could do both numerology and astrology from the same way, the birthday of the company. If it's a publicly traded company, what you do is the birth time is the day it is first traded on the stock exchange. And so when the stock exchange, let's say it's sold on Toronto Stock Exchange, the TSX. It opens, when is it, 8:30, I believe, in the morning. So 8:30 on the Monday when they first sold that stock, that's the birthday of the company. And so you look at that chart. So numerologically, what I would do is I would look at those numbers.
And if someone out there is deciding whether or not to go to work for these people or what kind of company it is, how would they get that info? Is there somewhere you can go to get that kind of information?
You'd have to do some research. There's a lot of companies out there. If they're publicly traded, they have to tell you. And sometimes, if they're private, then you have to do some. How long have you been around? When did you first start? You can pry that information out of them.
Okay.
And you're absolutely right. Finding out whether you're a good fit for that company through the numbers. Yeah. And
where were you before I started my last job? Oh boy.
But then again, too, the start of the job too is when you start the job. That's the birth chart for you starting the job, and that'll tell you about the job. Like I was in the automotive industry for a good 15 years, and when it tanked. There was a sign that saying my job was going to transform. So it could have meant it could die or it could change into something different. Well, 2009, it died.
Wow.
And it was right in the chart, so I knew it was coming. So
my last job, I knew that I was going to be laid off because the day before I packed up my entire desk. I brought everything home. I just knew. I brought everything home, and I said to Brent, you know what? I think tomorrow's the day. And I walked in, and of course they laid me off, and she said, come on, I'll help you get everything from your desk. Oh, no, I'm good. I'd already brought it all home. Sometimes it's good to know things. I think sometimes we're not meant to know everything, though, because we need to take that path to learn. There's always a hidden meaning. Like, we always learn. If you look back, even on your most trying times, you will find that there's a lesson there. So if we could predict the future to the point of, well, that job might not be the best job, I'm not going to take it, maybe you're meant to take it to come out of it learning something.
I've had that question with certain clients where, they're saying, should I take this? And the one thing I got is like, no, you're not going to be happy, but it feels right that you take it. And maybe it's because you have a lousy boss. There's classic example. Sometimes you work for a real brutal boss. But what does that boss teach you? That maybe you're not going to go down that route again. It could be B, okay, maybe it's brutal, but they taught me some discipline, what I need to do to organize it, because next job I get, I can employ some of their methods. That's why they were so successful. So you're right in that
it
there's
taught me to
reason.
Be self-employed. It taught me that I will never ever be in that position again.
And that's important.
But I needed that. I needed that push to have enough faith in myself to do that. And a lot of, there's always good in everything, I think. So I'm just going to intervene with a little angel astrology, and I'm going to take the first person who can chat what your horoscope sign is. I'm going to read what your angel astrology is. So do we have anyone chatting there telling us what's your sign?
Okay, we've got 3 people that have come up with their signs. Gemini and Pisces.
Gemini and Pisces. Gemini angel is air.
And Leo.
And Leo, okay. Air mutable. The Gemini angel has a light touch and a sense of humor that helps you put matters into perspective and gives you a sense of balance and proportion. The Gemini angel is swift, witty, and verbal. When the devil tries to lure you with a million reasons for doing what's wrong, the Gemini angel is right there with 1,000,001 reasons for doing what's right. The Gemini angel can be a nag, but in the nicest and funniest way possible, talking to you nonstop until you give up those devilish notions. So that was Gemini, and then we had Leo. I'm only going to do a couple. So Leo is fire and fixed. You know those pictures of what angels are supposed to look like? Noble features, flowing manes, celestial sunlight shining all around them? That is a Leo angel. Your Leo angel is a leader and a take-charge type. The Leo angel will advise you nicely at first. Then if you don't do it, the Leo angel will give you a good swift kick to set you back on the right road again. The Leo angel is very responsible, very proud, and darned if she is going to lose one assigned soul. So, kick-ass angel. That explains a lot of Leos that I know. Who we had, was it Cancer? Is that one?
Go, Leo, go. What about Pisces?
The Pisces angel is water, mutable. Pisces angel is such a sweet and sympathetic soul that she probably weeps when you do wrong. In the long run, that may be harder on your conscience than all the lectures and hellfire and damnation sermons in the world, and you'll be good for all the right reasons. The Pisces angel is the one who urges you to be patient, to be generous, to give people the benefit of the doubt, to do unto others as you would have others do unto you. That's exactly how the Pisces angel behaves, leading by example. Follow that example, you can't miss. So we're going to move on to, let's touch base a little bit on numerology. I think we did a lot last week, but is there anything you wanted to add or share?
Yeah, numerology, it's one of the easier occult practices to get a grasp of. So everything comes down to the 9 basic numbers, 1 through 9, and 11, 22, and 33 are called master numbers. So those you keep well, and it's very high-level energy that not everyone can maintain. So when 11 becomes a 2, it reverts down to the lower level of 2. So it comes back to the regular world where the rest of us are. And same with the 22 becomes a 4, and the 33 becomes a 6. In doing numerology, each of the letters is assigned to a number, and it goes through the ancients, the Hebrews worked with this, and the Kabbalah. In the system of the Kabbalah, they use numerology, so all their letters are assigned. The Romans had it as well, and the Greeks used numerology as well to take a name and transfer that name. So one thing that you could do with the company, so rather than taking its phone number, which is just a number, there's probably something in there that you can look at, but I would look at the company name. So if you work for McDonald's Corporation, you can take the letters assigned to each letter of McDonald's and find out what that represents.
Now, what if you have a company that goes by 3 different names? That was my old company, and that just goes to show you what it was like working there.
One name that they talk to the government with, another name that they talk to the bankers with.
I have a couple of questions that have come across.
Okay.
When 2 people meet, do you add their individual numbers together to get a new number for the relationship?
That's a good question.
I haven't played with relationship numerology. The way I do relationship numerology, you can look at it that way. I'm not sure if that's really written about. Most of what I read is you compare your numbers to the other person's number. But that's a good question. We do that in astrology, however. And there's two forms of doing that in astrology. One is to take an average of the two people's charts, and what that dictates is how the relationship looks. And then there's another method where you take an average of the place and the time and the year, and this is called the Davidson chart, and that tells you more of about the events in the relationship. But still, it's good to look at the two individual birth charts or numerological charts to see exactly where how one affects the other.
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, way back I dated a woman whose Saturn was on my moon. Now, being a Cancer rising, the moon is who I am. And Saturn, and it's in Pisces, so the moon's in Pisces, free-flowing, just kind of like no boundaries, no boundary.
But she was sitting on your moon.
The Saturn, and Saturn is about structure, order, and limitations.
Oh.
So it was like I wasn't good enough, and how am I going to be better, and this and that and the other. It felt really
not a good,
restricted. Yeah, so that wasn't very good.
Another question has come across. If you have a number that keeps coming up in your life, say a specific time, or a table number, or a locker number, does it have meaning?
Yeah, usually, and I've noticed that myself, that you do have repeating numbers coming in at various points in time.
Mm-hmm.
It might be for, a several-month period. So what you do is you look at the meaning of each individual number. The very first number is probably the most important one. So, like, I remember 911 kept coming up. 911. I'd look at the clock, it was 911, 911, 911. Okay, what's this 911? Well,
was this before 9/11?
It's been since then.
Okay.
But what that ends up meaning is that 9 is the number of completion. And the 1 and the 1 they're both numbers of beginning. You add them up and it's an 11. And
which is the master number.
The master number of illumination and understanding and grander wisdom. So what that was taking what I knew and seeing that change over into something new. New as opposed to K-N-E-W to N-E-W. So taking something, my knowledge of the past, and saying, okay, this isn't going to benefit me anymore. It's time to shift into a new awareness, into a new paradigm.
And that's when he left that girlfriend he was talking about. Okay. Well, I have 7s that come up all the time. 7
is the number of the priest, the researcher, or priestess in your case. The researcher, it's the person who will sit quietly and do work. It's the number of the loner. It's not because they want to be alone for the sole reason of that they don't like people. It's just that they're so busy and they're going to try and figure out how to get everything done. It's the number of the spiritual person who wants to understand the universe more and more.
Well, I do. That's why I'm here. Are we losing our computer? No? Okay. Well, this is great. How do you feel about talking about runes?
Runes, yes. I actually got started with tarot cards. Now, most people are familiar with tarot cards.
Yeah, we can do that too.
See, tarot cards came from around the 1400s, is when they first entered around, and it entered in as a game. For those of you of Italian descent, I have brought
those look cool.
My Italian playing cards. I'm going to hold some of these up here, and you can see that these have the suits, swords, clubs, cups, and coins, which equate to diamonds, spades, hearts. Hearts are cups, and diamonds are the coins, or pentacles, or coins here. But in the tarot cards,
they look very old. Are they very old cards?
They've been around since tarot cards were invented. Because I've got a copy of one of the older tarot decks here, and you have your kings, your queens, your pages. And again, you see the cups, the coins, the swords, the wands. The only difference with the tarot cards is they had Judgment, the Tower, cards like the World. Now, these are two different parts of the tarot deck. The World, the Devil, the Emperor, the Lovers, those are all major arcana. And they tend to represent facets of life that come from beyond to influence us. The other parts are everyday, mundane life. And so that was the basic deck, is how it started off. And we're not sure if it was a game originally that turned into a form of divination, because,
It probably was.
And then they turned it into a tarot deck. But back in the 1920s, there was a guy called Aleister Crowley, and he was part of a group called the Golden Dawn. And they took the tarot cards and they turned these into these very beautiful images. Aleister Crowley told I forget her name, the artist, to paint these the way he wanted them. And so here you see the face cards, or the suit cards, and then we have here, like the nine of wands.
These are beautiful cards.
They are. They're absolutely gorgeous, and they're absolutely powerful. They can be used, the Aleister Crowley deck can be used for meditative purposes or for very powerful readings.
Now, if I were to ask you to pull 3 cards for me, would you be able to do that?
I could pull 3 cards for you.
Yeah? See how it works?
Okay. I'm not going to use...
You're up for it?
I'm not going to use the Aleister Crowley deck because I don't work with that one very much.
Okay.
I work with these other ones here.
Now, those are covered in a black cloth. Is that significant?
Yeah. When I first started, they said wrap them up in a black cloth so that the energy kind of stays.
It's positive energy, and the evil energy doesn't come through.
No, it's not really. I don't follow about positive and evil. No, it's the black,
negative energy.
The black energy, the black cloth, it's more about absorbing, whereas white tends to shine off. So this is shining outwards, emanating outwards. Black is about absorbing in.
Right.
So it's about bringing in energy. Now you'll see that this deck is slightly different. It still has the major arcana cards, but instead of just having 4 wands, here we have a little boy and a little girl playing underneath 4 wands. So they added more pictures in. Now I don't read tarot cards kind of by the meaning of the card. Sometimes I do.
Okay.
A lot of times I just look at the picture and see what the picture tells me.
Whatever comes to you.
So
right?
I'm going to get you to shuffle.
Okay.
Okay, put them down on the table, please. Cut it into 3 piles. First pile you put there? Okay. So. I guess we'll show the audience what they are. No good being on TV when you can't see.
We can't see. A little higher. Higher? A little higher? Okay.
Okay. So I just have to look at them. And actually the way I saw them was in this order. So I should put them in the same order. Okay, so the first thing that I observed is you got 1 suit card and 2 arcana cards. And the 8 of wands represents swiftness, things coming in quickly. And there's a sense of busyness, a sense of urgency that was, I'm saying around 4 weeks ago, there might have been a big surge that came up.
Yes, that's right.
The next card is the Sun, and it's about achieving your goals, and you're coming into a part where you're feeling good about yourself. Okay, hang on. See, I got to look at the pictures. Wait a second.
That's okay. You can put them down. They've seen them.
One of your children you have 2 children? One of your children's been occupying your time a lot in this past little while. And and it's been, again, maybe it's not associated with the busyness from 4 weeks ago, but right around now. And you're feeling good about it? I don't know, is there a graduation kind of like coming up?
I have a son who's autistic who has basically sucked the life out of me for 7 years. But we're seeing progress now, and things are, he's as close to normalcy. Like things are really good.
So some success.
Yes, definitely.
And you're feeling good about it because, like you said, you put in a lot of work and a lot of effort, and parents who have autistic children can probably attest to that it's not an easy life.
No.
It takes a lot. So when you do get progress, this is the sense of the sun, a sense of achievement and feeling good. And then finally this card here, the Magician. This goes back from 4 weeks to this card. So this card is kind of like the card in the middle is kind of at a point where you kind of feels good. But this says, whatever you started, you're going to have to keep working at it. Mm-hmm. And you got to realize that it's about what you do, and it's how you do it, and the effort you put in, that you can't blame anyone else. Mm-hmm. It's up to you. And if you want to...
Now, is that pertaining to my son, or is this pertaining to me?
No, this is something, it feels different. It doesn't feel like it's a son. The son is still continuing, and you got to keep working with him, right? And but keep doing the things that you're doing. So that's one thing that's saying. But this is talking about whatever the crisis was about 4 weeks ago, where everything kind of went boom. Is that you have to keep that going and keep it busy, and it's up to you.
No,
you can't blame someone else.
I understand that completely. Yeah. Well, that would be me leaving my last job, and now, like I said, I'm self-employed. It's all up to me, and I have to just keep going and going. And
you've got the Magician, as you can see here. He's got the pentacle. He's got the pentacles. He's got the cups. He's got the sword and the wand, and he has one hand up in the air, connecting to the unknown. And what that talks about is taking the 4 elements of magic, this is why he's the Magician of magic, and blending them all together.
Mm-hmm. That makes total sense. That's what I'm trying to do. So that's great. Thank you, Frank.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. But in talking about magic and the pentagram, I guess maybe a lot of viewers who don't know what the pentagram is, they might think it's an evil symbol associated with Satan. For those who care, I don't believe in Satan. I don't think there's an entity like that.
I don't believe in it either.
Is that a bit higher? Okay.
I do believe in negative energy, but
yes,
I think
negative energy.
We can create that ourselves.
Oh, some people are very good at creating it.
It's so true.
So, what the pentagram represents is the 5 elements, actually. So, fire, air, water, earth, and spirit up on top. This is a symbol of magic. That's what magic is. You take everything around you, all the little components, and you add some spirit into it to make it come alive. This symbol predates Satan. Satan was only invented or came into consciousness a couple thousand years ago. Prior to that, there wasn't one. There's some fallen angel who has a name that's kind of, I forget the Jewish name, Shaitan or something like that, who was an angel who did God's dirty work, or Jehovah's dirty work. Now, Satanism actually came about in the 1600s or 1700s. And in their type of magic, what they do is they turn the pentagram upside down. And some people now go, oh, upside down pentagram, that's bad. And you can see why it is bad because you're taking the elements and putting them above spirit. So you're taking world and worldly possessions and worldly things and putting them above spirit, which a lot of times is wrong. However, in certain paths which use the pentagram, you start off with the pentagram this way. At a certain level of initiation, you have to do this. You have to put spirit below to understand the material world.
So that you can appreciate the spirit.
Then the next level, you turn it up. Now,
I'm at the next level.
This level is a difficult level. It's not as easy as people think. You think that, oh yeah, you
doesn't make you happy.
It's a test. So then now you turn it this way. So actually, going back to astrology, and again, as an astrologer, everything is astrology. This represents what the ancients, when they derived the pentagram, where it came from is, if you take the planet Venus and across the zodiac chart and mark where it turns retrograde. Now, when a planet is retrograde in the sky, it means it seems like it's going to go backwards through the sky, because planets go from east to west through the sky, and they always travel that way. But occasionally, so like the sun and the moon, they all go like that. Sun and moon don't go retrograde. But all the other planets, sometimes you'll see them stop, and then they start going back this way. Because, like, if you're looking at them at a with respect to a constellation, it seems like every night it seems to be moving away from the star in the west, and then it'll stop and start going back across the way it's supposed to. If you take the planet Venus in an 8-year cycle and mark down every time it turns retrograde, it will draw a pentagram.
Oh, wow.
And so this is far more ancient than the Satan.
There's something happening over in the tech department. What are you all excited about?
I just noticed our viewers went up to 400 and some. So.
Woohoo! Wow. Gotta have you on the show more often. So runes.
Runes, yes. So we established.
Or maybe before we go to runes, because I wanted to ask you Wicca. There's Wicca tarot cards, like Wicca readings. Wiccan pagan priests.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about that?
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of people associate that with devil worshippers and.
Okay. So let's first start off with the word pagan. The word pagan is a Latin word, and it means it's derived from the word pagus, which means of the country. The way it was used in ancient times was country bumpkin.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened with, if we look at religion and the spread of Christianity throughout Europe, Europe was Rome, which controlled most of Europe, had the Roman gods who were equivalent to the Greek gods. And in Rome there were many religions that were worshipped. Several pagan religions, but the Romans didn't always approve of all of those. But they didn't care about certain religions being around because it didn't bother anyone. Egyptian worship, Isis, was very popular in Rome. Mithras was a Persian religion. Mithras was born on December 25th, born of a virgin, came down sent by his father. This is a religion that predates Christianity by at least 350 years.
A bit of a parallel there. And
they had pontiffs in their religion. So the pontiff was the head of the Mithra, and there were several pontiffs, and they had a council of pontiffs that would meet occasionally. Anyway, they were popular with Roman soldiers. Mithras was very popular with the Roman soldiers. There was the religion of Attis. They call it the cult of Attis. Cult meaning a group that follows. Not as in a brainwashing cult, but as a bunch of people who follow a certain religion. So you could say the cult of Jesus, right? Mm-hmm. So as the cult of Mithras was very popular with the Roman soldiers and some other officials, Judaism was in in Rome as well, and they were fine. And then the Christian movement started coming into Rome. There was a bit of issue with the Christians in that, and a friend of mine who's a historian pointed out to me when we were having a discussion, the reason why the Christians were persecuted in Rome was not because they followed a different religion, because there were tons of religions in Rome at the time.
That's when they fed them to the lions.
Yeah. There was a couple things that happened. One of the things is they were traitors, because the Romans felt that on Jupiter Day, or Zeus Jupiter Day, when there was the big celebration, everyone of all the different religions would come and celebrate Zeus Jupiter Day because it's a Roman holiday. Mm-hmm. Well, the Christians only have one God, and they weren't allowed to worship anyone else, so they wouldn't pay homage to the Romans. That was taken as a sign of being a traitor. It's sort of like not celebrating the 4th of July if you're Muslim. Mm-hmm. So you can see where that could cause some trouble, right? So this is, and thanks to my friend Brian Walsh pointing this out to me. So he said that's one of the things that kind of like made people look at the Christians. And then when Nero burnt down Rome, they knew they were going to find out who did it. So he quickly went, they did it. We already don't like them much because we don't celebrate our holidays, and so we'll pick on them. And then it just escalated from there. So then what ended up happening was the movement grew, but the movement grew in the cities. And in the country, people still kept the old religion. So if you think about early 1980s, new wave and punk rock, if you went out to Oshawa as a punk rocker back in the early 80s, or even, pick a town like Peterborough or something, it would be kind of like, you're listening to Led Zeppelin or whatnot, right? So if you're listening to anything, what is this music, this new wave, and why are you wearing eyeliner, and why do you have black clothes like that? You were treated weird, right?
Yeah.
So, but that started from the big cities, right, and expanded. Now you walk into a small town, and you got these kids with the pants hanging down, and we're talking white guys going, yo, yo, yo. And it's sort of like you're looking at them going, okay, whatever.
It's like that guy in American Idol. Is it Randy? Yo, yo, yo. I hate that. How many people are irritated by hearing yo, yo, yo throughout the whole show? Well, I know that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I just thought I'd share that.
So, but you know what I'm saying. So in the country, they're a bit slower to catch up onto the city movements. Mm-hmm. So Christianity moved through the cities, and they make fun of the people in the country who still worship the old religion. And then eventually they got won over into the old religion, and this is the example where now you see, everyone listening to, odd music out in all parts of the world, right? Mm-hmm. But it was different back then. So pagan means worshiping the old religion. Wicca is a modern religion invented in the 1950s. Came together as a culmination of lots of different things. A bit of Freemasonry, a bit of Theosophic influences, and there's a spiritual movement happening. And Gerald,
they associate Wicca with witches, do they not?
Yeah, but what Wicca is a religious practice. Now, witchcraft. What is witchcraft? Witchcraft is technically the blending or taking of energy and
healing
and using it for constructive use. Mm-hmm. And any type of energy can be used good for bad. You can use Reiki for bad. I can have a knife and I can cut my meat on my dinner plate, or I can turn around and stab someone with it. So is the knife inherently bad? It's how you use it.
Using it.
Right. So witchcraft, if you look at old European pagan witches, a lot of them were more equivalent to the Native American shaman. Mm-hmm. And there were different levels. Actually, here's an interesting story which was told to me, and it's like once they said it made total sense. Our stereotypical image of the witch, green skin, crooked nose, broken teeth,
long black hat,
and fingers. Well, I'm talking more about the facial feature. That's what a witch appeared to look like to most people. And you know why?
No.
Well, let's say you have land, and this is the 1200s, and you have no husband.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm the landowner next to you. I'm on your land, and you're a woman. You've got land. Oh, she put a curse on me. She put a curse on me. She must be a witch. And she worshipped Satan. I saw her out dancing naked in the fields.
So they used to do that.
They used to come.
Take advantage.
And then you'd be captured. So what happened? You go in, the Grand Inquisitor comes in and says, "You are in league with Satan. How do you plead? Not guilty." You get beaten. You get tortured. You get your fingers broken. You get your face smashed. You know what they used to do? They used to bless.
They used to drown them, didn't they? Like they would, if you didn't drown.
No, well, that was one thing. But during the Inquisitorial era, they would shove hot pokers up their genitals. They would cut their breasts off.
I'm sorry,
they would
I asked.
Beaten.
This is right up there with the plate readings.
So now here's this woman that they parade out before they burn her or drown her, finally, and now her skin is green, because after you bruise, your skin becomes, gets that greeny color.
Oh, that's where it came from, and your nose would be all
broken.
Oh.
It was smashed in, right? So that's why a witch looks that way.
Well, that is fascinating to find out that's totally gross.
No, but they used to do it, and they'd have bishops and archbishops there blessing the implements of torture.
That's horrible.
Right? But then that's what happens when, and the same thing happened to the Christians, some of the stuff Emperor Nero did. Mm-hmm. But then again, they were just, the Roman emperors, total power corrupts. What is it? Power corrupts, total power? I don't know. I forget how that saying goes. Does anyone remember that online? Absolute power? Or, no? Anyone? No? Okay.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
That's it. Thank you. I knew it was in there somewhere.
See, he is good for something.
So
I'm getting that finger. Okay.
Yeah, but they would burn people, feed them to lions, that kind of stuff. So
I have a story about that.
People inherently are crazy.
Yeah.
Or some of them are, and they tend to be in charge, unfortunately.
I used to read up on Edgar Cayce. Edgar Cayce, are you familiar with him? I thought was just absolutely brilliant. He was a school teacher who used to go into kind of a dream state, or he'd lay down with his hands crossed, he'd go to sleep, and he would actually perform readings for people like that. But he healed a lot of people, and what he believed in past life regression, and the fact that you go through something in one life, if you don't remedy the situation, or basically bad karma, you will take it with you to the next life. And one of the stories I loved the most was about this woman who was looking after a friend of hers. I think she was like her sister-in-law or something, but she was frail, she was an invalid, she was very sick, and this woman had to, she had no life. Like, she literally was at this person's beck and call, and she went to Edgar Cayce for reading, and he had said that the reason she is responsible for this woman is because in a past life, they were both very young girls in the Roman emperor days. They both lived in the castle. The one girl, her father was very high up, and they again had their own religion, like you said. Her friend was a Christian. And because they were really close friends, she didn't denounce her friend to the Roman emperor. She kept it a secret until they both fell in love with the same man.
Uh-oh.
They both fell in love with the same man, and he was madly in love with the girl who was the Christian. And what happened was, her friend, in a bitter, jealous rage, denounced her. Went and told everyone she's a Christian. And she sat in the arena with the boy that was in love with the woman and watched her get mauled to death. So in this life, she had to make up for that. So she's looking after this woman. I was reminded of that story. It's I thought it was a very powerful message that, you have to treat people really well in this life, and don't think that, it's not going to come back to bite you, basically, because it will.
The Celts actually believed in past or reincarnation as well, and in Ireland what they would do is they would, if today you and I I needed something from you, and you'd loan it to me, I can write you an IOU that was good into the next life.
Wow.
So I wouldn't have to pay you back this life, but next life I would pay you back.
But if I had enough of those, maybe that's why all those people that you see, and why is their life so easy? Why do they have so much?
Maybe they loaned everyone
they were so good in their past life. Maybe.
Well, now here's the other thing. I got a friend who's was training to be a Buddhist monk, and then decided it wasn't quite the path for him, but he was almost a monk, and the karma to get to the next level where you don't need to reincarnate anymore.
You have to have a clean slate.
Clean slate. No good karma, no bad karma. So
I have a question about that, because I totally believe that. In fact, if I had, I was brought up Anglican, but I'm very spiritual. If it were me, I took world religions, I'm probably closer to a Buddhist. So I could probably become a Buddhist tomorrow. Here's the thing, though. What if I go through my life and I completely, decide when you're at an age where you can make this decision, I'm not going to hurt anyone, and even if I do, I'm going to make sure that I make it right. How do you ever get a clean slate for, your younger years? You know what I mean? Like your school years when you didn't know any better and you might have hurt someone, or...
I think that's where it balances out. Like by changing and
it
going.
will?
Yeah. But then again, it's different scales. Like, who are you going to be in the next life?
Exactly.
And so...
And what about those people that you rubbed the wrong way without meaning to? They hold a grudge. Then your slate's still not clear because you have a connection to them.
No, their grudge is their own.
Okay. That's why it's important to forgive, right? They say that if you forgive, then you can move on and know that you did everything that you could. Like if someone, rather than have a grudge, if you've had an argument with someone, I'm really mad, I'm angry at that person, I feel like they did me a wrong, but if I can overcome that and forgive them, then and reach out and say, you know what, neither of us agree, we're never going to agree, but let's just move on from this point. It's not worth losing what we have. Do you know what I'm saying?
Or you can just not have anything to do with that person and just consider them a butthead. And leave it at that. Some people just are buttheads. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, that's another way to go.
You don't have to go out and hurt them, but you can acknowledge the fact that they're a butthead. Bye. Sayonara. We'll see you later.
All right. Well, moving along. So runes. What can you tell us about runes?
Runes are a favorite of mine. They became a favorite. I don't know how it ended up happening. A friend of mine, I had some kicking around because I dabble in a lot of different things, and I like learning about a lot of different things. And so these came into my path, and started playing with them, and fellow readers, colleagues, when we were doing events and stuff, they said, "Oh, pull out your runes, do rune reading." And I started working with them. She said, "You're doing really well." I go, "No, I'm not."
It's all practice,
I think I'm doing good. Well, it depends. Yes and no. Sometimes you just have the knack.
Mm-hmm.
So I got into them, and it's been interesting. So for those who don't know what the runes are, there's different levels of runes. So the very first rune set is the Viking alphabet, and there's 24 letters in this alphabet, and it is called the Elder Futhark. So we have an alphabet, alpha, beta, so A, B, first two letters. Their name is 6 letters, so Futhark, Futharc, Futhark, and this is the eldest Futhark. There's been other Futharks that have come and gone. Went up to 28 letters, and then up to 32, and then dropped down to 18. But the oldest one is usually the one that's mainly used in divination.
Futhark?
Futhark.
It sounds Viking for butthead. Am I right?
Now I brought a set of runes. And these ones here just happen to be carved on deer antler.
Wow. I've seen the stones. I've never seen these. These are interesting.
Now, the interesting thing about stones, I don't know, if they're carved on stones, runes need to be carved. Now, the one thing about runes, there are several authors who write on runes. Any rune author that refers to the blank rune, or weird, weird is a Viking term that means unknown or mystery. Anyone who uses that book, put the book back on the shelf, step away from the book, do not look at it again. Unless you want a good
Not a
joke.
fan.
No, it's Ralph, I think is it Ralph Bloom was a rune reader from the 1950s, wrote a book. And normally, anytime you buy a rune set, you're usually supplied an extra rune in case you lose one. So you can have a complete set. Well,
but if they're carved and they're all different.
Yeah. But you might lose one, so you just carve the letter that you're missing.
Oh, okay.
So,
what's the significance with it always has to be carved?
Tradition.
Okay.
It goes into... See, this is also a magical system, very much like tarot cards are a magical system. So you can use these for magic, heavy-duty magic.
It didn't help the deer any, though, right?
No, the poor little guy, no, it didn't work for him, unfortunately. But he helped me out, so... Well, they drop them, actually, right, in the winter.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, so you can find them.
Oh, is that what you did? You went out looking for deer antlers?
No, I think my friend actually hunted them, the guy who made these.
All right.
So he had dinner for them. Hang on.
Not a big fan.
We're going to touch on that in a second.
Got a quick question here. Somebody just put down, what about chicken bones? Are those just as accurate as runes?
They are as accurate as the reader. That's... Be it tarot cards, chocolate fudge that you spit out on the kitchen counter, whoever's reading it, it's how accurate the reader is.
So we're talking about voodoo chicken bones here from username something.
Well, voodoo, okay.
Who would ever spit out chocolate fudge? I'm sorry, I gotta ask.
Maybe you realize that you're allergic, or I don't know. Hang on, I'm going to touch on that one in a second, on the voodoo chicken bones. But anyway, so these are carved on a deer antler. Anyone who uses a blank rune, forget it. The 24 runes, that's what this rune Peritho is for. And if you notice here I got the last two letters. Depending on which authors you read, they can be switched around. Otila at the end, or Dagaz at the end. So that's the only discrepancy. But the runes are all talked about in the what's it called, the Eddas, and in those it's a Viking story that describes the stories of the gods and describes the runes. There's a chant that goes with each of the runes. So there's a meditative chant that you can do for each single rune. And while I was getting them tattooed on me, I had performed a Viking ceremony. I don't follow Asatru, which is the Viking religion, but I know enough of it, and I worked, since I was doing the runes, I said, I'm going to do the ceremony in the tattoo parlor as a...
So you have these tattooed on your body?
Yeah, on my arm here.
Who here wants to see this?
One second. So as I was getting tattooed, I chanted what is called the Galdar.
And we've got a few yeses, by the way.
The only remaining in modern culture remnant of the Galdar, and what you would do is you'd take each letter and say it with a vowel. So the H, Hagalas, would be ha, he, ho, he, ha. Well, the story of Jack and the Beanstalk, the Galdar. For Fehu,
well, just one second, I will transfer
you. Fi, fo, fum. That's the Galdar. So that goes back to ancient Viking times. And that's
we have somebody online that wants a reading.
Wow. Okay, what type of reading?
I will let you speak with them.
Okay. Hello, you're with Ask Your Angels. What type of reading are you looking for? Hello? Did that not work? Hello? Ask your angels. Okay, that didn't work. Is anyone there? Ask your angels. You looking for a reading? Okay, we're having technical difficulties. Give us a call back or send a chat. Let us know, are you looking for a rune reading? That did not work. Or are you looking for an angel reading? If it's an angel reading, if you could just hold off to the end of this, we would really appreciate it. Oh, here it comes. We're going to see the tattooing. By the way, if you're into tattooing, check out live tattooing on Blog TV. Wow! Are we getting all this? Look at that.
So what this is the entire Viking alphabet, the Viking runes. So as I was getting tattooed, each letter, I was chanting the Galdar for each of them. So Fi, Fa, Fo, Fum, Fa. And then the next letter is U, so Oo, O. And I got that done.
That's beautiful.
And if you notice here, I've got a raven and his companion on the back. The god Odin, the chief god of the Norse. He hung on the world tree to go. Well, do you want to keep focus on it? He hung on the world tree to descend into hell. Now, hell is the underworld where the goddess who rules all the dead people. She gets all the dead people.
Why would he want to do that?
Well, it seems hell or the underworld is different in various cultures. The only person or the only god that can go into the underworld in Greco-Roman religion is Mercury or Hermes and Persephone or Proserpina. In the Norse religion, Odin was allowed to descend into the underworld, and down there were the three Norns, who are equivalent to the Greco-Roman three fates, who weave the web of past, present, and future.
Okay.
So when he came out from the underworld, he was given the runes as a gift, or while he was down there, he got the wisdom of the runes. However, he had to make a sacrifice, and he had to sacrifice his eye. If whoever saw the movie Thor, and I know all the girls are going nuts out there, because I know my girlfriend was.
Thor, Brad Pitt.
Well, no, it wasn't Brad Pitt, some other dude.
Well, maybe am I thinking of? I thought that
he kind of looked like a Brad Pitt kind of guy. Anyway.
There was a movie with Brad Pitt.
Who was not a Thor.
I thought it was.
No, I forget the actor's name. Anyone out there in chat line know?
Russell Crowe?
No. No. He's a new guy. Anyway, they made it seem as if Odin lost his eye in a battle, and they've missed out on that. They went from the comic book, but they missed out on that aspect.
Hold on 1 second, please.
So anyway, on Odin, he has two ravens that sit on his shoulders, Hugr and Munnar, memory and foresight. So that's what the runes are there for.
Okay. Hi, you're with Ask Your Angels. Are you looking for an angel reading or a rune reading? Hello? Oh, sorry, you're on speaker now. Which reading are you looking for?
Oh, sorry, you're on speaker now. Which reading are you looking for?
Rune reading.
All right.
Yeah, which reading are you looking for?
Rune reading.
Now we're getting feedback.
Okay.
Please turn your computer down.
Is that better?
Much better, thank you.
Oh, so that was... Wow.
Feedback never works good when you got it through a phone line.
That was very sci-fi. That was so cool. Okay.
All right, what's your name?
My name's Guthrie. I was looking to get a rune reading on my future employment situation. I'm thinking about trying to change security companies, but I'm wondering basically whether or not that's a good move at this time. Hello?
Yes, I'm tuning in.
He needs to focus a minute, so it'll be quiet for just a sec.
Oh, sorry, I thought I'd lost the signal. My bad.
Okay, so 2 runes have come up here, and I could show them to you.
Can you tilt the... Oh, okay.
This is Ivas, and this is Yera. So in doing a rune reading, I look at what runes come up, and whether they're turned down, or whether they're turned upwards, and those are the 2 that are turned upwards. I also look at the shape that the runes fall onto the table, and I picked out randomly 4. So the 2 runes that are up, Ivas is a rune that's equivalent to the Death card in Tarot, which suggests endings. Yera is the rune that means year. Yera means year. And what that says, it talks about the grander cycles of things. So when you get 2 of these together, in a reading like this, and pertaining to the question that you're asking, it's saying your time is spent where you are. You've learned as much as you can. It's now time to reap the harvest, and it's time to end it. So it's saying move forward. It's also in the shape of an arrowhead with these 4, and it's suggesting that it's time to move forward and put your energies in. Now, the 2 runes that are down, let's see what these say. So, you get this one and this one. Oh, okay. There we go. Oops. Sorry. That makes a difference. Hagalaz here is a rune that says its meaning is hail, and it has to do with setbacks. Although you're going to have to move forward, it's saying it's not going to be easy at all. It's going to be a very difficult challenge, and Manu's here, it's going to be really testing your mettle, like seeing who you are, it's going to see, in making this transition, if you're, I don't want to sound, what do you call it, condescending in a sense, but it's going to see if you're man enough to do this, okay? And I mean that in the most positive sense, because as we go through life, we have to determine whether or not our emotions, our actions, the things that we do are worth it for us. So this is saying that you should take action because things are coming to an end where you are.
It's kind of like what we talked about before, is that things aren't necessarily going to be easy on your path, but sometimes they're meant to happen because you come out at the other end a stronger person, you've learned a life lesson, and sometimes it's things that we're meant to do. It's our whole purpose for being here.
Okay. Well, thanks for the heads up, guys, and I'll let you get back to your show now.
Okay, thanks so much for calling in.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye. You need to turn off the 2 phones.
Okay, thanks.
Bye. Thank you for that.
Oh, yeah.
That was great. I've never seen a rune reading. I love that.
Well, the traditional way, I'm not doing it the traditional way. From what people who research this heavily, like I read the way I read, and I get the signals the way I do.
Mm-hmm.
What the proper way to read it is, you need a drinking horn, and you should have just finished drinking mead. For those of you who don't know what mead is, it's an alcoholic beverage made from honey.
Oh, that's good. I thought you were going to say entrails or something. I was getting all worried.
So you finish drinking from the drinking horn, and then you put the runes, which are actually carved on sticks about this long, kind of like small miniature popsicle sticks. And they're spread out on a white sheet. That's the very traditional ancient way of reading the runes. I should have had a sheet or a cloth to put it because it is a sacred tool. But that, and then I didn't have the mead because I'm probably going to be driving home. after the show. So
now we're being really good tonight. We're drinking water. See, Allison, if you're watching, water.
Chris Hemsworth, Thor.
Chris
Thank you.
Hemsworth. Who is that?
And then somebody else. No, Anders Breivik. That was the older one.
Okay, and what was the Brad Pitt movie? Is this really going to bother me? I mean, he was really...
Oh, no, it was Roman. It was
that was
Roman
the Roman
God.
one.
It was,
yes,
but
yes.
it was, oh.
Who's he playing?
Oh, I got to kick somebody off.
Oh, someone's getting nasty.
Wow. Anyway, Brad Pitt looked amazing in that movie, and he had big feet, and that's all I'm going to say. Okay, so you also do healings for people.
Yes, I
Can
do.
you tell us a little bit about what you do there?
Yeah, okay. One of the things, I got into this all because I needed to figure out how to do healing for myself, really. And my sister was seeing a healer, and I was getting into all this energy work, getting into Wicca, and figuring out all this kind of stuff. And so I said, okay, you know what, I need some healing going on. So I went to see my sister's healer and started working with her, went for several sessions with her. And she told me, you know what, you have the ability to do this. I go, oh, really? Okay. So let me figure this out, okay. Well, where do I start? She goes, well, there's reconnected healing. Dr. Eric Pearl, he's a...
Quick interruption for you guys. Somebody online has just mentioned it. It's Troy.
Yes, thank you. Troy. And he was hot, am I right? I might watch that later.
And somebody I'm getting ready to kick off is asking a question whether rune readings, how do you prove whether they're real or fraud? And this is the person I'm getting ready to kick off. So.
Well, no, you don't need to kick him off for that. That's a valid question. It's all about your faith and what you believe in. You know, we can't say to you that this is the way it is and you have to believe us. It's what you feel inside, you know?
Okay, as far as readers go, I've gone to see several myself, okay, because
it's hard to read for yourself.
Well, yeah, you can't read for yourself. Yeah. And so what you get, a lot of times, when you're in this line of work, you get people that you know. The only problem is sometimes with people you know, they know you too well, and they have certain opinions of you. Mm-hmm. So I usually try and find someone who's different, that I don't know.
Right.
And so what I'll do is I'll go to a reading and you check it out. If they tune in to you, sometimes it blows you away. I went to see one woman, just saw her on the street, and she goes boom, 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 right? Tells me, wow. So I went back. When I went to see her again, it wasn't as good as the first time. Mm-hmm. So, and then, you know, you make your choice. Do I go see that person again? When I went to see my astrology teacher, I remember before I got into any of this, my sister calls up and she went to see my astrology teacher as well. She took astrology with her as well. And she goes, well, here's what my astrology teacher says about you. And it was a boom, 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 personality analysis. And I was like, I'm going, yeah, so what... You told her all that. She goes, no. I go, what did you tell her? She said, I just gave her your birthday, place you were born, and time you were born. And she got all that. Get out of here, you're lying. Yeah, I didn't believe her, right? And then I went to her for a reading. I had some crisis in my life, right? Went to her for a reading, and she kind of put all the pieces together for me. And then so I continued to go, and I go, to this day, I go every year for my birthday. So I see my astrology teacher. The other readings, I'll go see people that I've gone to before that I've, that I can recommend. Mm-hmm. And actually, one of them is a friend because we're pretty brutally honest with each other, which is really good.
That is good. You need to be.
Yeah, you have to tell someone when they're being a butthead. It's like you're being a butthead. You can't do that. And it's like, and this is what's going to happen. So you have to check them out. Not every reader that you're going to work is going to work with you well. Sometimes you just don't have that connection, right?
And so unfortunately, there are people out there that are fake.
Scammers, yes.
They're scammers. I mean, I've been to them. I've had them too. And again, you just have to. Luckily, when I do readings myself, I'm fortunate enough that I usually get instant validation. Now, in the case of this gentleman who's going out, switching jobs, you know, the best thing is we invite him to come back on the show, give us a call in a month, and let us know if this, you know, panned out the way Franco said it would.
Now, with that in mind, too, the future is uncertain.
Yes.
It's never written in stone.
Constantly changing.
Someone can predict that you're going to live a long life, and then tonight I can decide to jump in front of a subway.
Yeah, because we have free will, and we're affected by other people around us, and things are always changing. That's why I don't tie into these psychics who say you're going to meet the man of your dreams on this day, this time, you know.
Well,
I don't necessarily, not to say that I don't think they can't predict you're going to meet that man, but how can they say 100% it will be at exactly this time when we're so influenced by everything around us?
Well, here's an example of a psychic. This is funny because someone I know went to see a psychic, and she was told she would marry Todd.
Is this your friend? Or just Todd?
Todd.
Okay.
Okay.
Going to marry Todd.
So she's out looking for Todd to come by.
Of course she is.
Right? She ended up marrying some guy, and his name wasn't Todd. His initials were DD.
Ah. And
Mary,
two D's.
Mary to DD. That's what the psychic saw.
Okay.
See, and here's another thing, too, with psychics.
Interpretation.
I heard another one who... he's over in England, and he was asked to predict the outcome of a football match. And so we'll call it red team and blue team. And he sees the red team score. I don't know, maybe Man United, let's say. He saw the red team score, and so he said to everyone with confidence, red team 1-0. Well, as it turned out, the blue team won 1-0. The psychic was right, though. The red guy did score.
On
his own net, because I guess what he saw was the red team scoring, and he goes, oh, okay, the red team's going to win. What he didn't see, what he wasn't given, was the full picture that he was scoring on his own net, and so the blue team won. So he had a bunch of people up in arms, and he was like, but I was right! The red guy did score.
That's hilarious.
So, like, there's stuff that can happen like that, so it's slight misinterpretation. And
because that's what we do. We interpret. We go with what we're feeling at the time, and we try to do the best we can to help you with what we're given. And sometimes we're not meant to know all the answers. That's another big thing. Sometimes people ask me, you know, is this going to happen? Well, I don't necessarily see that, but it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Just not meant to know for whatever reason.
And the other thing, too, I find that usually I don't have people ask me a question, although I'm kind of starting because it can cut to the chase quicker. So I usually start talking because I pick up feelings more. It was funny, I remember doing this one party. A bunch of us got hired to do a Christmas party for some company. So I get my first person or second person, I don't know, she sits down in front of me, and so we start doing the reading. Excuse me. I'm like looking at this and I'm going, oh, I'm so sorry, this is, you know, I got to say this because it came up. Your marriage doesn't look like it's going very well. And she looks at me and she goes, we're at a Christmas party. Isn't this supposed to be light entertainment? I go, I know, I'm sorry, but that's what the cards are saying. They're saying that you've got some issues around marriage and this and that and whatnot. And
that's one thing you learn, too. You cannot hold back, right?
Oh, yeah.
I learned that in the early stages. You can't edit stuff. You have to say it like it is.
And the reason for that is, and a friend of mine, tea leaf reader, Amy, always says, this is great. It's sort of like you've got someone comes to see you. They want to know the weather. It's going to rain tomorrow. So, okay, this person's expecting a sunny day. Do I tell them it's going to rain tomorrow? Well, if I don't, and they get, clouds and wet, and they don't bring their umbrella, and they're bringing their, wearing their sandals.
They're going to wonder why you didn't tell them it was going to rain.
Or they're going to think I'm just really lousy.
Yeah, well, exactly.
So what you have to do is you have to be honest with people, and I guess one of the big questions of, I don't know, people ask readers is, do you tell people they're going to die?
Yeah.
Now that's always a difficult question. I would never tell someone they're going to die to their face, right, to that person's face, because what if we can't make that judgment call? They can purposely shut down.
Exactly.
And cause themselves to die when they might have to finish something.
It's what's it going to accomplish telling them, I will normally say something like, have you had a physical lately? Maybe just go check with your doctor and make sure everything's good. I will go that far, but I'm the same. I will not tell someone if I see that they're going to die.
However, I've been told that I told someone that their dad was going to die, and apparently I was right. And which is kind of weird because I talked to my friends, I go, and we've done readings where we've been sitting in proximity to each other, and get to overhear how our style is and how we talk. Mm-hmm. And this one woman came up to me and she goes, I don't know if I want a reading with you. I looked at her and I go, oh, okay, well, whatever. It's kind of weird to come up to someone and say that. She goes, because last year you told me my dad was going to die, and he did. And I went,
but you didn't make it happen.
No, but I don't even think I would say that. I maybe intimated it and she read into it. So that was kind of like, that creeped me out, because unless I went into a trance and I don't remember saying it.
I mean, I will say this, I have had readings like that where I said to someone, I will say I'm seeing a death, and it's a male figure, and, I'm seeing it could be on your dad's side. But again, that could be a grandfather that's passed already, a great-grandfather. It could be their dad. I normally will, the only thing, again, I will say is, could be your dad, just make sure he's had a physical and seen his doctor, and, I mean, that's all you can do, right?
No, it's interesting when you're getting the messages and trying to figure out what to do with the signals and how to present it to a person. Read a great reading a book a friend of mine loaned me on by Ozympensky, who wrote on the works of Goethe, the philosopher. And what he was talking about in readings, there's a couple times, I don't know if you get this, it's sort of like you're focused on the person's past a lot. And they go, I already know my past.
I always say to them, though, like the first reading I do, it does have a lot of the past, the present, some of the future, but I always say, this is for me to get a feel for what's going on in your life, what you've been through, so that I can give you the best reading possible. I know that you already know it, but it also validates what we're doing.
That's actually a good way to look at it. The way I look at it is that if I'm meant to say something, I'm going to say it. So the things that happened in the past, I think, are important to bring up because, well, I know that. Okay, well, hang on.
But they're significant usually.
Well, in Geertruff's writing, he says, in order to know where you've come from, or where you are, you have to know where you've come from. So you have to know the past to know the present.
Exactly.
And before you can even move forward in the future, you have to know where you are and where you came from.
And why you are where you are. You have to be able to analyze, look back on everything you've been through. And like I do this almost every day. It's like I would not be here now if I hadn't gone through such and such. And then you can appreciate, wow, especially if you're in a good place right now, it's like, wow, now I understand why I had to go through that.
Exactly.
It makes it easier for you to accept the hurdles in life if you can have that kind of philosophy.
But it also helps the client too in the sense that, yeah, okay, so you married someone who's a lot like your father and you don't like your father and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, yeah, I know that. Yeah, so why is this guy that you're going out with now seem like your father again? Well, he's different. And how is he different? And then you get him talking and they're going, oh yeah, you're right, he is like my father and I don't like my father or whatever. Like I'm just
exactly
an example. So.
But that's helpful because sometimes it's like what they say, love is blind, right? Sometimes you just don't see it. And you need someone. I think these things come up because they are significant in some way, from the past, and that you have to talk about it.
Exactly. And in astrology, we look at the nodes of the moon to look at the past and the future.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have you do a reading for me. One of the things I always say to people when they go for a reading, because we've gone for readings with other people, And I expect this when someone comes to me for a reading. I always expect that until I prove otherwise, they should assume that I'm a fake, right? It's up to me to validate that I'm not. Do you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want someone to show up who immediately believes everything I tell them. I like it if they can challenge things. It gets us talking, and I always tell my clients, don't give me any information at all. You know, like you said, sometimes, yes, it's easier for us if you ask a question because it does kind of pinpoint the answer more quickly. But at the same time, I don't like it when they ask the questions because it tells me too much about what's going on in their lives. If it's a first reading.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, before you get familiar with them
right.
in subsequent readings. Well, one of the things that I do is I have a prayer that I say to, and especially if I'm doing the runes, I'm praying to Odin and the Norns. I ask them that I be given the information and the knowledge of person A in front of me that I may speak what they need to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not even about being accurate or right, but the words coming out of my mouth
need to be what they need to hear.
What they need to hear. So if it's kind of like, stop doing that, or if it's, you know, and I might be focused on the one thing, and that message keeps repeating, and like sometimes, I don't know, I feel like I'm a broken record, and I'm thinking to myself, why am I saying that over and over again?
Because it's so significant.
At that point in time for them.
Yeah, I have it too.
So,
all right. So, does anyone have any questions at all? Anything from the chat room?
Got a couple of people here that would like readings, but they don't want to call in.
That's fine. Let us know by chat what type of reading you want. If it's an angel reading, a rune reading, you want us to connect you with Franco for an astrology reading down the road. Okay, well, I'm going to read something while you're chatting over, you know, what type of reading you'd like. I pulled this off the internet. Angel sightings. Sightings of angels have been reported for thousands of years. An angel sighting can be a bit different than most suppose. Most sightings of angels are actually mysterious visitors who show up, provide assistance of some sort, and then vanish as quickly as they appeared. Usually the person who experiences this type of angel sighting will not see the angel appear or disappear, but will later realize that the benevolent, human-looking stranger that vanished had to be an angel. Other angel sightings are quite dramatic and describe a light being of some sort who provides a word of help or caution. This type of angelic sighting is often described as life-changing, with the angel presence being full of love and peace. Though having an angel sighting such as this can be intimidating, often the people who have been fortunate enough to have such an experience describe being calm and not frightened. Sometimes people may describe an angel sighting as having occurred in a vision, perhaps while dreaming or during a near-death experience. Most every account found within the Bible describe angels as being human in appearance and without wings. I found that fascinating because when I have seen angels through readings that I've done, it has always disturbed me that I don't see them with wings. So I found this really interesting. Angels were not described as having wings until artists began painting them that way after Orthodox Christianity was officially formed in 325 AD.
Now,
thoughts?
Going along my path, so paganism and the gods and the old gods and all that, we have different levels of beings.
Mm-hmm.
There are elementals, and then there's I believe there's various levels, planes of existence, and sometimes they can cross over. One instance was it was hilarious. I worked from home for several years, and I woke up in the morning, turned on the computer, desktop, went downstairs to go make myself a cup of coffee, cat sitting in the hallway. I turn around the stairs, I'm walking down, all of a sudden I see a gray ball, and it comes. The gray ball goes like this, and it's hovering just above the floor, and all of a sudden the cat looks down, and I go, oh, the cat sees that too? So I got one eye on that gray ball, the other eye on the cat, looking at that gray ball. and it just kind of went down the hall into my bedroom and disappeared. And then the cat looks up at me going, "What was that?" And I'm looking at the cat. I go, "I don't know. What the hell is that? How am I supposed to know?"
Cats are amazing for seeing things.
Oh yeah, no, cats can see things. And another story. So like that was the mystery thing that just kind of flew by. And I remember that day because it was so funny because it was watching the cat see the same thing that I saw, and the cat looking up at me going, "What was that?"
What do you think these mean? Because I've had the same
Nothing.
experience years just before
Just
sleep.
passing through.
Just before sleep, and just, you know, that place where you're really relaxed. You know you're still awake, but you're almost asleep. And I see weird objects that you can't even look at and comprehend that, oh, this looks like such and such. It's like something it doesn't look like anything that's on Earth that I've ever seen. And
it's probably not. It's probably some parallel dimension. But another thing that I saw too, and again, me and the cat saw it. I was coming home from band practice, and my bass player drove me home because he came to practice with me. I went to practice with him in the car, and he goes, "Oh, so what you doing now?" I go, "I was about to make some dinner. Are you hungry?" So came in, had dinner, and we're sitting there chatting, and all of a sudden I go, "There's a gold ball in this room," and I go, I'm looking at it, and it went in front of the cat's nose. And the cat goes like this, and we watched it again, and it went out the back door. And he watched both of us doing this.
Now, gold balls in a solid ball or a ball of light?
Ball of light.
Okay.
So, it was late, and he said, "Okay, well, I'm going to go home." So off he goes.
You guys weren't eating brownies, were you?
No. Pasta. We had pasta and salad.
Okay, that's pretty safe.
So anyway, I get on the phone talking with my girlfriend, and I go upstairs. Now, I normally pick up my bird, who's in his cage, and bring him downstairs with me. I show up into my office where I was going to go put my guitar away, and I saw my bird lying on the bottom of his cage. And I went in, and like I'm there, oh my, and I opened up the cage, touched him, he was still warm. That was him.
The ball of light.
He kind of went, poof, I'm leaving now, and off he went, and the cat's like, and he did fly by the cat's nose, which was absolutely hilarious. Once I figured out, like, because the cat went like that, right? He got startled. And so I saw the ball go by, and I go, "Oh, you little bugger, you kind of, you did a fly by the cat's nose." It was beautiful. So off he went, and he's off in freedom. Poor little guy. He was the Methuselah of birds, though. His species only lives 4 to 12 years, and he was almost 12. So.
Oh, well, he lived a good life for a bird.
Oh yeah, little guy. But yeah, so like that, there's a lot of little things that are floating around. But as far as energy work goes, yeah, I initially did reconnective healing, and then I worked with a teacher who taught me some other techniques, like some pressure point techniques, so you kind of follow the person line. And I guess if you were to trace it, it would probably follow the acupuncture line. That's my guess. And because I just know where to put my fingers, because what I see is kind of like a little gray spot saying, poke me here and poke me here.
Oh, wow.
And then I do work like by pulling things away as well, just kind of energetically, like.
Is that like a toxic cleanse kind of thing?
Yeah, kind of thing, and grab the energy or shift it around to where it needs to be. And I remember the healer that I was seeing all the time. I asked her, she's taking some new technique. And I said, "Oh, should I take that technique as well?" And she goes, "No, you just keep experimenting. You're going to develop your own."
And you have?
Well, it's what I do. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, people say, "Well, what is it that you do?" Like some people go, "Oh, I'm a Reiki master. I went to do Reiki on a weekend workshop, and I'm a master now." That's one thing that I find.
Some people like that.
No offense to Reiki practitioners. I think Reiki practitioners are great, but if you're going to call yourself a master, you might as well have been doing it for at least 20, 30 years, not after a weekend course. That's my only beef against Reiki master. It's like, if you're a master, you've been doing it for years, and you know.
I know. I have a friend who's doing that. She has one more course, and then she'll be a Reiki master, and you're right. It seems like a very strange term to give someone who she hasn't even practiced it yet. Not really.
So how can you be a master?
I
That's
don't know.
what I don't understand.
You think of a master, someone like the Dalai Lama or something, you know?
Yeah. Now in healing, the other thing about healing too, or even reading, like I may do this for, I've been doing tarot since 98 is when I picked up my first tarot deck.
I was 17, but I won't tell you how long ago that was.
Well, I was in my 30s then. So, but there might be a kid who just picks up a stone and does psychometry. All of a sudden, they just have a better...
They have a gift.
They have a stronger gift, right? So you have people who are at different levels, and the same thing. You can be. I've been playing guitar since I was 16. I'm not Steve Vai. I'm not Keith Richards. But hey, I play and it's fun, right?
Who does that remind me of?
But and then you get. It's kind of like with the healers too. You get someone who is just like, we all have healing ability. We all have psychic ability to read. Just some people are like using a tree branch to conduct electricity, or a copper wire. Like they can all conduct electricity to a certain point, right?
Right.
But if you're tree branch electricity, I wouldn't wire your house with a tree branch. It wouldn't work that well, right? So maybe if someone's kind of like not the exact medium for doing healing and energy work, and other people are like, they're a lightning rod. So it's like
our tech guy should do healing work. You can feel heat coming out of his hands. Like, he's really good.
And then you just have to open it up. But then again, some people just don't want to do it. They have a gift, and it's sort of like, whatever.
Yeah, it's not their thing.
Yeah, it's not my thing.
It has to feel right.
Yeah, and that's the important thing too.
So, well, does anyone want a reading before we go? Because I think we're getting to the point where we're going to head out. I'd love to tell you who's on next week's show. If you're watching and you have something that you do spiritually and you'd like to join us, let me know. Please visit my website, www.askyourangels.ca. I also have a blog, so we keep track of our different shows. And on the blog, you will find all of Franco's information if you'd like to get in touch with him also. So thank you so much for coming. This was great. I learned so much tonight. This was awesome.
It's been fun.
Any questions before we go?
And just to let everybody know, this was probably our busiest night. We maxed out at 750 viewers this evening.
Wow. Well, thank you, Franco. I think you had a lot to do that. Very informative. It was awesome. Great show.
I know a little about a lot.
No, I think you're extremely informative. And I meant what I said. I'm going to get that astrology reading so I can share it with everybody, and as much as I'm willing to share. And have a great night, and thanks for joining us on Ask Your Angels. Talk show.
I've got somebody here that's requesting a reading, but nobody wants to call in.
You don't need to call in. Just let us know what type of reading you'd like. Is it an angel reading? Is it rune reading?
Okay, I've got one here from Twin Flame. Okay, I have a question. I would really love an answer. I seriously see 1111 all my life. I need to know what it wants from me and what it means. So I know where this one's directed.
Numerology. Oh, he's thinking so. Can be quiet for a second.
What's the real name?
Will you share your real name with us?
I don't see any responses yet.
Is the first name enough? Or do you want
just the first name.
Just the first name. Okay, so I got a private message. Tell them Shira. S-H-I-R-A.
When you see something and you know what to do, you have to act on it. Being given the message and realizing what's going on and not taking action doesn't help you. If you want it, that's the thing. You got to want to do what it is that you're seeing. The 1111 is saying, okay, you know. Now the thing is, you got to do.
So it's something that you're aware that you need to put into action, and you're not doing it. So it's giving you it's nagging.
Why are you afraid, though? That's the other question. Why are you afraid?
Not getting any response from anybody. Fear of the unknown.
Everyone's afraid of the unknown. Sometimes.
See, but the 11 is saying you know. It's saying you've got light. The number of master illumination. If anyone... That reverts down to a 2, and 2 is the number of psychic understanding and connecting with people. When you don't act out on the 11. And I think I pulled a couple of runes. You need to really get in tune to yourself before you can actually move on. And I think you're also afraid to find out who you are. A lot of us are afraid to find out our inner personality. It's like, okay, I'm sorry, I like knitting, kind of thing. It's
or afraid of what other people might think.
Think that you... I like knitting, or whatever, I like to drive a race car, but my dad won't let me. And so, can I act on it? No, because I might get, looked down upon by someone I respect and admire, kind of thing.
It's probably kind of like the same thing. Like for me, I will get a message in my head that'll tell me to do something, and I'll brush it off or ignore it. And it will just keep harping and harping and harping until I take it into action. I remember I worked at Nestle Purina years ago, and there was a morning where it was like well below zero. It was one of the coldest winters. The car died. I had absolutely no money. I was sitting there freaking out going, how am I going to pay? You just know when the car dies like that, you're talking your engine or transmission or something huge. And I was just like, what am I going to do? And I kept hearing a voice saying, get a 50-50 ticket. Get a 50-50 ticket. And at work we had a United Way campaign, and they were selling 50-50 tickets. So I'm having this little fight in my head going, yeah, but I already bought 3 of them, and that should be enough. Like, I believe if you're meant to win, you win. Buy a 50-50 ticket. And it literally lasted. I had the car towed, went to work. It lasted the entire morning. I finally went, okay, fine. And I went off and I said to the lady, okay, I know I bought 3. And the draw was that afternoon. I said, I need 1 more ticket. And I flipped it over and I wrote auto. And out of 800 and some odd people, that is the ticket they pulled. And half of the money was exactly what it cost to fix my car.
There you go.
So you gotta just trust what you're hearing. It's a blessing that they're sending you these messages. You should feel not afraid. You should be very excited that, wow, that you're so important that they feel that you deserve this message, and they just keep sending it, and they're waiting for you to listen.
So we got a response, I know.
I know, that's it.
And a thank you.
Oh.
Okay. You're welcome. Sorry, but we got a delay here, so.
Oh, there's a bit of a delay. Can we help anyone else before we go?
Got one here that the Ascended Master wanted an angel reading.
Okay. I can give you an angel reading.
And one other person here says they wanted a rune reading. We got nobody wanting to call in, so that's pretty sad.
Okay, that's fine. Do you want to concentrate on the rune one while I concentrate on this one, and then we'll just take turns?
Okay, who's wants the rune?
I would like a first name too for the angel reading.
I've got somebody here called White Surprise. Need my name? White Surprise is Corey.
And is that for the angel reading?
That is for the rune reading.
Oh.
So okay. You, Corey?
Corey.
And Ascended Master is looking for an angel reading. So if you can private chat me your first name, I'm sure we can go ahead and get something there. Or if you want to give it in the main window, that's
I
good.
can try it with just Ascended Master. With the thing with an angel reading is it's your guardian angel. They know who you are. They're going to find me because you're giving them permission, and that should be fine. So just give us a second. It'll be quiet for a minute.
Sir Master is good.
Wow. Bear with me, it doesn't seem to want to come. Are you thinking of a question in general? Is something going on with your mom? Well, I'm just going to go with 2. I don't know why I'm having a really hard time pulling these.
My mom is good, it says.
Someone on your mom's side? No, I feel like it's a mother figure. Okay, well, we'll see what the cards say. Did you want to go first? Are you ready?
Doesn't matter.
Well, you go first. We'll do
Okay.
Corey first.
Okay, I'm getting almost like a sense of knot in the stomach, and there's a lot of fear, and part of the fear comes from wanting to burst out and explode like a volcano. Like there's a sense of being able to do that and blow up. Directing your energy is probably the best way to go. And it's almost like you don't want to do what it is that you want to do because you're trying to shield someone or shield yourself from repercussions. Okay, don't say that. Say it. Okay, I've been asked to reword what I was going to say, and it's more about when you're a kid, you like kid things, teddy bear, playing on the swings, whatever. Playing on the swings is fun when you're older. But anyway, the thing is, there's certain things that worked for you as a child, and up until now, it's kind of like letting go of those things. You don't need that blanket. You don't need that teddy bear anymore. And it's a big step to leave that teddy bear at home when you go out. What that'll do is by leaving your security blanket, and then this is where the fear is. What's going to happen with that security blanket that you have is that there's a potential to be creative, and you might see things in a different light when you're acting things out. At the same time, I just get a lot of fear moving forward, but you can do it if you really want. Will you get hurt? Sometimes change is painful, and there will be, and I'm not guaranteeing this is going to go smooth, that actually you might get a little pinprick from this. So, Corey, just kind of move through and go.
The questions come across by creative. Does it mean artistic?
No, it's more in the sense of making things happen. It can be artistic, but it's more about making things happen. It's kind of like getting things to move through. And see, the reason why I'm saying creative is Kanaz is the creative fire. So with fire, you have that spark of being able to do something with it. So you've got a lot of potential in your life and a lot of energy, which I don't think was totally grounded, and now you have to direct it. But in order to do that, you have to let go of the childhood baggage that you brought along with you. It's been about 9 months or so I'm picking up that this has been kind of like really brewing. And the one key thing is you got to watch that you don't get sick from letting it, turn in your stomach and turn into your head. Deep breath, let it go, let it sigh. Tomorrow's a new day. Take that step.
Thank you, Franco. Corey, did that help?
Just thanks.
Okay. Okay, so going back to Master Ascended Master, my apologies. I want to go back to this woman that I'm seeing, and my first thought was it was a mom. It could be a mother figure, mother of one of your best friends, but I'm seeing very tall woman. I wouldn't say too thin, but on the slender side, brown curl, not curly, like those big curls, like someone who wears hot rollers, like big curls, hair to about here. I'm not getting what the significance is right now, but I'm seeing this woman, so I'm thinking that she is significant in some way. The angel cards that I've pulled for you are Xana. It said, you are protected from all types of harm, and the worst is now behind you. I ask you to relax and feel safe. No matter what has happened in your past, your present and future are now safely protected by angels. I am helping you to heal from past upsets or trauma. I am helping to heal your heart of worry or fear. I am here to help you release any self-sabotaging thoughts or behavior. I am here, in other words, to help you enjoy a renewed sense of safety and peace of mind. The other angels and I stand guard around you, your home, your family, your vehicles, and your workplace. You can rest assured that no lower energies can permeate our protected field. We only allow the energy of love to enter wherever you or your loved ones reside. All expressions of fear are transmuted back to the field of illusions from whence they came. God and the angels ask that you relax and enjoy yourself, for your happiness brings a smile to heaven. One of the things, I have another card too, but one of the things I felt, I had a very difficult time pulling these cards for you. It's almost like they wouldn't let me pull a card for you, and I felt resistance. So I'm not sure if that reflects that there's resistance on your part. There's something that you're not willing to let go of. There's something that you're being maybe stubborn about, or I'm sensing not so much anger but resentment. That's what's coming across, and it almost felt like, why bother pulling this card? He's not going to listen anyway. But not to make that sound that way, but it was almost like a tug of war trying to pull cards for you, and I haven't had that before. So for some reason I feel I should mention that. The other one is Archangel Raphael. Usually when an archangel comes into our lives, there's something very significant going on, and it's like when, you see a doctor and then all of a sudden they call in a specialist. So there's something major going on in your life that you are protected. There's someone that's there watching over you more so than usual, and that's Archangel Raphael. It says, I am helping you heal physical challenges in yourself and others. You are a healer like me. I am with you because I am the Archangel of healing. I am helping you heal your own body as well as the physical bodies of others. I surround physical ailments with my healing energy of emerald green light, and this energy is absorbed where it is needed. I speak to healers through their thoughts and feelings. I help you to discern in this way if your life's purpose is to be a healer. I can help you to know which areas of healing to study and then assist with all aspects of your healing career. Call upon me whenever you need such help and know that I will be with you in an instant. I got very strong chills with this one, and again, that's a lot of love coming through. There's a lot of, like a protective force. It just feels like you've been through something very either traumatic or something that you're healing. You need to heal. And I would suggest that maybe you start reading some books to help you, meditation, but you need to go through a healing process. That's what I'm getting from this. Does that help at all? You getting any feedback there, techie guys?
Sounds good, interesting, and a very long That helps a lot.
Does it help? I'm glad. If you want, again, go on my website. There's a lot of resources there. They're complimentary. Meditation, yoga, healing techniques. I had to really scour through YouTube to pull out the best stuff. So www.askyourangels.ca, and hopefully you'll find the right thing there to help you. And thanks for chatting in.
And I think I have one last person that would like an angel reading. Hello, Ask Your Angels.
Hi.
Hi. Are you calling for an angel reading?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And can I ask your name?
Allison.
Allison. Okay, just one sec. Okay, I use Doreen Virtue's cards, and I'm pulling from her angel therapy. And the reason for that is I feel that there's some sort of therapy involved here that you need.
Okay.
So just, it's going to be quiet just for a sec.
Okay.
Your cards came out very easy. One of the things that was coming across, Allison, is that you are a light worker, that you are a very optimistic person, and that you care about others and you try to help them whenever you can, and in a way you're a healer yourself.
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay, so the first card is Heal Away Addictions. It says it's time to let go of behaviors that are blocking you from your heart's desire. Ask Archangel Raphael to help you with this healing. This card comes to you to validate what you already know. It's time to let go of addictive behaviors as they're interfering with your health, happiness, and life purpose. The angels ask you to be very honest with yourself and admit that these addictions are wasting your time, robbing you of energy and confidence, and blocking the answers to your prayers. Fortunately, the angels will support you through every step of healing away cravings and other addictive tendencies. It begins with your making a clear decision to let the addiction or addictions go. Weigh the pluses and minuses of the addictive behavior. Once you're emotionally ready to release it, take the following action steps. Go to a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, and then say silently or aloud, Archangel Raphael, I call upon you now. Think of what you'd like to release. It could include destructive patterns, compulsive behaviors, toxic relationships, and unhealthful cravings. Imagine these addictions or a symbol of them sitting on your lap or upper legs. You might see or feel the addictions, and you may also sense how they're attached to your stomach area with tangled cords, webs, and roots. What I'm feeling from this is I feel as though it's not an addiction like a drug or drink or alcohol. It's an addiction of something that you repetitively do. And I almost feel like it's something that maybe your friends have commented on more than once, but it's something that is in your nature to be repetitive, and you would like to change it and you're not sure how, but you need to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So the next one is Goddess. Express your divine feminine energy, embracing its magical intuition and nurturing qualities. This card speaks of a need for sacred female energy, which brings gifts such as intuition, nurturing, and artistic expression. Perhaps you've been spending too much time thinking or engaging in creatively void work. If so, then this card is your signal to move your body and dance and express your intuitive, artistic, and nurturing side. You're also guided to call on benevolent female deities to help with the situation you're inquiring about. You can call upon Lakshmi, the beloved Hindu goddess who helps with abundance, Bridget, the Celtic goddess of healing and courage, Mother Mary, the saint who guides our children, Athena, the Grecian goddess of wisdom, the Egyptian goddess Isis, who helps women juggle home and family, or any of the thousands of others trustworthy and sacred feminine deities. Action steps are, within every woman are 3 parts of the goddess. Maiden, which is your inner child, at times pure and at other times adventurous or bold. Mother, nurturing qualities. And matriarch, that's the teacher. Men have analogous inner qualities of the lad, the dad, and the patriarch. It's important to express each of these 3 parts daily. This helps to balance playfulness with work and relationships. Spend time each day expressing all 3 characteristics and notice how much more energized and balanced you feel. So with that one, I think, again, it's saying that you have a gift. You are a light worker, which means part of your divine path is to help others, and through healing techniques, and maybe right now, maybe I'm actually not feeling that your life is in total chaos or anything. I'm feeling that you pretty much have things, juggled pretty well. But I think you need to work a little more on the spiritual side. I think they're crying out for you to do this because you have a gift, and you need to open up to it a little bit more, or give it a little more of your time, basically. So the next...
I'm a teacher for special needs children.
Oh, okay.
But I recently, I want to apply for construction. I like doing drywalling and renovations.
Okay. Well, so you want to go away from the teacher, like looking after the special needs children completely?
Yeah, well, I'm just in transition. I'm not too sure what to do.
Okay. Well, you know what? The bottom line is you're meant to help people. Again, you're a light worker, but you can do that in so many different ways. I mean, people, their home is what makes them very, happy and content. It's like the feng shui thing. So you could go in there and, are you thinking of doing other people's homes?
Yeah.
Okay, so you could go in there and you can bring happiness to those people by your art and what you do. So, you have a gift and you have a path and you're at the fork, and it's for you to decide which way you'd like to go. I think you would be great in either. If it were me, I would say what I'm feeling is that it is good that you're moving in that direction. I think you've given a lot to the children, and I think you're going to find that there's circumstances that are going to come into your life where you will still be using your skills in that area. Something else will come up down the road where you will be helping children again, but in a different context.
Okay.
But I think the move to doing the renovations and things like that, I see you doing it, and you're happy and content, and you're bringing a lot of happiness to people. So I think right now it's a very positive move in your life.
Okay, thank you.
I have one more. This is Earth Angel. Again, it says, you are a light worker who has come to Earth to teach about love. This card comes to you in response to your question about your life's purpose. The answer is teach about love. You fulfill this task whenever you're centered, serene, and loving, and that's when you're a role model of divine peace. You needn't say a word, write a book, or work as a healer in order to positively affect others. And again, that's going into what I just said. I think whatever you do, you're going to bring that to other people, whether it's the first field you were in or something new. You just have that gift about you that other people are going to benefit from. You merely need to be loving and compassionate in your interactions with others. Those who are peaceful teach about peace, which is the expression of divine love on earth. You also receive this card to help you cope with alienation issues, which means feeling different from others or that you don't belong. As an earth angel, this may be one of your first human incarnations. But don't worry, for you're never truly alone. The angels are always with you, guiding, loving, and unconditionally accepting you as you are. There are also other earth angels living among you who have similar backgrounds and experiences to your own. Ask your guardian angels to connect you with like-minded friends, and they will. The key to teaching about love is first to feel it for yourself in your life. Take a pad of paper or open a blank word processing document on your computer and write down everything you can think of under the heading, What I Like About Myself. Include every major and minor trait you can think of that you find positive about yourself. It's a private list, so admit characteristics that you might normally feel shy about revealing. Then erase or cross out the word like in the paper's headline and replace it with the word love. Frequently review and add to this a list of reasons why you love yourself. It will help you teach others to love themselves as well through the process of self-acceptance. So that's your reading. I hope that helped, Allison.
It did. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You have a great night.
You guys too. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for calling in.
I'm going to say goodnight to Franco now, who was really gracious in coming in tonight. He's in the middle of a major move himself, has lots to do, and I'd like to extend a warm thank you to his girlfriend for loaning him to us tonight. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for having me. It's been fun.
I'm sure people will be looking you up. And we'll put it on our blog and everything, so feel free to give Franco a call. I'm sure he can help you out.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thanks. Take care.
Have a good